Take that short break here at Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. And now we're going to get back to your host.
Hello and welcome to Plato's Cave. Coming to you from Australia, the land down under, for Revolution Radio on revolution.radio. Home to ideas that are dangerous ideas, I tell you. An important message, of course, is that the station is not beholden to anyone, so if you can donate, please do, because we're not getting money from anyone else. And if you can't donate, that's okay too. Just tell people about the station. Today is the 10th of December, which means the year is almost over. 2024, eh? Hi, vey. You can catch the cave on the air, on the line, and on your smart device to grab an app to listen anywhere or listen at home on a great tabletop digital radio. You know what? The archives are free. That's pretty good. Not many free things in the world. Another good reason to donate or tell people about the station. So go on and binge on that content. Before we start broadcasting at you in anger, I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land from which we broadcast. And for Dave,
it's the Duck and Jung.
Thank you, sir. For myself, of course, the Dark People. And we would like to pay our respects to elders past, present, and future. Soon we may no longer be able to do that, because Mr. Dutton will remove all traces of this kind of stuff from his government, I'm sure.
I don't want to stand in front of 3 flags.
Yeah, it's just not
said.
right. It's not right. It should just be one flag. It's just, I'm sorry.
Is he going to bring back the conversation about having our own country again?
He's not setting a single foot right. I can tell you that. Let me step into that one. Yeah, oops, step into that one too. Oops, no, again, what again?
Sideshow Bob stepping on all the rakes.
Whack! Whack! But you know, it's true. It's true. What can you do? I tell you what, this is. We talked about this. We said. I remember the conversation. Might have been. I'm pretty sure it was on my air. Now that the world is in a uncertain situation, globally speaking, the Russians, the Chinese, the Americans, a lot of players all over the place. And I remember saying this, people will take advantage of the situation.
Oh yeah.
If someone is not looking, they'll be doing something, and oh boy, someone wasn't looking. This is what Putin can only dream of. The war that never was. Within a few days, the rebels have taken Syria. Assad has fled to Moscow. Bashar al-Assad. He was granted asylum.
I heard a plane crashed or a helicopter crashed or something. It's not confirmed, and it had Assad in it. We don't know yet.
Okay, I haven't seen that, but oh, good, mate. Hey, that would be one less problem for Mr. Putin, right?
That's true.
So yeah, you gotta look at the bright side here. So, that was very fast. That was super fast. But the rebels took advantage of the fact that none of Syria's supporters could actually help Syria right at this point. And as we saw. Much like the Russian army, there wasn't much to the Syrian army, it seems. So, rebels went in. And now the interesting thing is this. The guy who's leading this new group, he was initially associated with ISIS. Then he said, no, that's radical and this is bad. And then he associated himself with Al-Qaeda. But he also started to distance himself from them. And, he's getting off the Islamic branding and goes into a more Syrian nationalist branding. He's actually from the Golan Heights. Even his name means Golan Heights. So he's there. That's where he's from. Anyway, and there's still this wariness, and Is he going to turn out to be another Islamist dictator? The Israelis didn't waste any time in bombing strategic points in Syria, degrading the weapons capability of Syria. Well, no one is looking. And Turkey, of course, is very happy because they supported that group that took over Syria. So it's Turkey. Turkey is very happy, not Turkey. Turkey is very happy. And Russia is thinking, oh, well, this is not so good. But what can you do? I got my own problems.
Mm-hmm.
And it's clear that it's going to be free fall. I mean, if Trump comes into power on January 20th, he's going to start. His official start date is January 20th. He's going to introduce a few things. He says, I'm going to have a whole bunch of executive orders. But one thing that I found the most astounding, the change he wants to make. Not the tariffs, not the wall, not the deportation, none of that. You expect it, right? Not even, maybe even get rid of the Constitution. No, what astounded me, Dave, was that he wants to get rid of the birthright. So today, if you're born on American soil, you're American automatically.
Mm-hmm.
So be it mainland America or one of the islands, or in fact an embassy, even an American plane counts, right? If you're born on American soil, you're automatically an American citizenship. And I thought this is like one of the fundamental things for Americans. If I'm born in America, then I'm an American, irrespective of the status of my parents. I'm an American, right? Now, you can't rescind citizenship for what would be tens of millions of people retrospectively. It would throw America into chaos, But I guess going forward, he wants to stop it. And if you're born in America, doesn't mean you're a citizen immediately. It doesn't mean that at all. No. In fairness, not many countries are like that. I was born in Germany. Mom is German. My dad was Turkish, but I wasn't automatically German. I was Turkish when I was born. I was like 3 or 4 years old when my mother applied for German citizenship for me. I had to get it by declaration, so I became a German citizen. I think, like I said, I was 3 or 4. I can't remember. Obviously, I don't remember it, but I've got the certificate somewhere. So it's America is one of the few countries where if you're born there, then you're automatically that. In other countries, again, like Germany, you actually have to apply for citizenship, even if you're born there, even if one of your parents is German. Irrelevant. So, do I think it's a bad idea? Well, not really. I mean, it's just in line with other states. But I don't think that would stand. I think whoever comes in after Trump would change it again, right? And he also said he's going to pardon the U.S. Capitol rioters, the Gen 6 crowd.
Mm-hmm.
So that should be interesting.
Did you see Biden wants to put a preemptive pardon for Fauci?
Yeah, I saw that.
That once again he's breaking history because it hasn't been done before. Someone who isn't up on charges, but get out of jail free card.
Yeah, but not just Fauci, others too.
Oh, I was making a point of one, yeah.
Oh, no, but there's a whole, that's the thing. I mean, if it was just Fauci, you go, oh, okay. There's a whole bunch of them that Biden intends to pardon preemptively, no matter, so Trump can't bring charges against whoever. I mean, there's a whole list of these people.
It's like never before. That's the thing.
Never happened. We are in uncharted waters here, my friend.
Totally. We talked about that before Trump got into power the first time. Like, we'll wait and see and get the popcorn because he's not anointed. He hasn't gone to all the schools and he hasn't been there. He doesn't have a handler. All those things. Well, I think the point about the birthright is because some people crossing the border who immediately have a child.
That happens, of course, yeah, absolutely.
Kind of claim, remember what they did here? Well, they go, well, let's just not allow people to get to our border and process them offshore.
Any of our, including the islands, any of our territories.
Yeah, any territory. And the reason is because our laws say that you can have a representative, legal representation for your claim of asylum.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, that was just, I think clogging up the legal means and rooms and courts that we have, and they didn't want people to have the right to a legal representation. That's really the whole goal of that, and it worked. It worked. Let's call it to a degree that I didn't expect, and that is offshore processing and the argument for it. But there were some lies in around about, children overboard, if you remember that story. So I think right now, Mackie, and I agree with you in advance because I know what you're going to say. We are not only in uncharted waters, so to speak, but going forward, looking to next year and the year after, the refugee crisis is not going away.
No.
It's only going to get worse, and if we don't put things in place today, what are we going to be looking at? That's a good question. Do you think that's part of the motivation there?
Yeah, look. Yeah, I think so. If not all of the motivation.
Yeah.
To be honest. It's. I think, honestly, I think we're going to enjoy the next 4 years, in many ways, because it'll bring things. It'll change. Like this is. It used to be wars that would bring about these nexus points. World War I, World War II, blah blah blah. Not only, but there was a lot of that. Right? It could be natural disasters too. Obviously, that's big ones, global ones. But this, Donald Trump being elected to the American presidency and all his ideas and what he wants to do, and he knows from his first term in office, this is it. Like, I still maintain he will not leave the White House, but let's say he does. He's only got 4 years. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So if he really wants to make a mark, he can't hold back. He has to go all guns blazing from day one. And if you look at his appointments, for pretty much for all of his offices, I don't think there are terribly many non-controversial people. Right?
That's true.
So yeah, look, I think he's got a certain vision of what he thinks America should be. And I think, how old is he? 70, right? And I think he's looking for the America of his youth, in the same way that Putin is looking for the Russia of his youth. And what I mean by that is, after World War II, because he was 70s, he was born in the 50s. He must have been born in the 50s, 40s. Anyway, but he grew up in that golden era, the golden age of America after World War II, right? When there was rebuilding and industry was at its peak and everybody was drinking Coca-Cola, right? And America opened up new markets everywhere. There was a new enemy to fight, communism, but we were way ahead of them. It's all good. And the Europeans were now with us, and there was a huge market in Europe and a huge market in Asia, and selling all the stuff. And Americans were doing really well, manufacturing and resources and education and science, space tech. I mean, America was at the forefront. And I think that's where he grew up. And I think that's what he remembers. And America, for all intents and purposes, was great at that time. Right? Not perfect. Nothing is ever perfect, but it was great. I remember, not the time, but I remember the movies because I grew up on them in Germany, right? The movies that were made at that time, Humphrey Bogart, and Lauren Bacall, and Cary Grant and all of those guys. There's this American optimism. We discussed this before, right?
Yeah.
And if you think back to the movie Captain America itself, when you had this the character Captain America, Rogers, right? Steve Rogers. He wakes up after whatever, several decades in the ice.
Yep.
And he doesn't recognize America. He looks around and goes, well, what is this? What? The America that he left behind in the 50s.
That's right.
50s, it's just doesn't exist anymore. I have this deep feeling that Trump wants that back. He wants that back because this is funny, Dave. As you get older, you really are quite nostalgic about the past.
Oh, totally.
Right? I mean,
Yeah.
I remember watching shows when I was a child, and movies when I was a child, or things that I used to eat, or whatever, right? As a child, and then in my 40s and now 50s, I want it again.
Mm-hmm.
I find the movies, I find the shows on. You can find anything on Amazon these days. I look for treats and I import them if I have to, if I can't find them here, and things like that, right? And also my holidays in Turkey, it's a very specific kind of lemonade, Uludağ, because also I used to drink, and you can find it now here in Sydney. But it's these things, and it's nostalgic, and you feel good because this was probably the best time of your life as a child.
Yeah.
That's what he's doing. Putin is doing the exact same thing. In fact, there's a really great movie coming out about Putin, like a sort of a docudrama. So it's a movie, but about his life. And it's fascinating. I've seen the shorts for it. It really looks very interesting. And I think a lot of leaders, especially when they get older, and when they have lived through like a golden age, because again, Putin lived through the golden age of the USSR.
Yeah, that's right.
Really? I mean, when they were strong and the KGB was there, and people still afraid of Stalin and all that. The Iron Curtain was up. Russia was strong. I mean, people hate Gorbachev.
Yeah, because he was changing it and bowing to the West.
Yes, he was.
That's right. Him and Reagan together were making, inroads, I suppose, towards peace in the world, and that wasn't what anyone wanted. Who, back then, I suppose the West wanted it because a calm, predictable, profitable, most clearly would be the goal. Planet would be better for all of us.
Of course, I mean, nobody we romanticize war, right? We have these notions of adventure and daring a do and swashbuckling and whatever.
Oh.
But if you've actually been in a war or in a violent confrontation, it's not romantic, it's not swashbuckling, it's not an adventure. It's dreadful, it's horrific and terrifying. And my grandfather told me all about it, right? And in World War II, that is, of course. But it's we still have this notion, though, right? That it's such a wonderful thing to have war. We when I have a happy with what we have. There's this theory in the Pacific Islands. The Pacific Islands, Micronesia, all across, they're almost perfect living conditions, right? Barring the occasional storm. I mean, before the Europeans came, diseases were rare. People had enough food. The weather was pretty good, except there were storms, of course, and all that. But it was okay. I mean, people had a really good life. You didn't have to work very hard because food just, grew. The fishing was plentiful, etc., right? And there's this theory that people got bored. That's when they started making war on each other from island to island, raiding each other because they were bored. Because life was too good, right? In German, there's a saying. It goes, nichts ist schwerer zu ertragen als eine Reihe von guten Tagen, which loosely translates means nothing is harder to stomach than a row of really good days. It's just we seem to be incapable of just being happy with what we have for the most part, right? You're right. I mean, let's just be happy and just live nicely and don't worry about war, Dave. Right? I mean, as you get older, I think you crave it, right? I know I do. I don't want adventure. Thank you very much. But young people and whatnot, they get bored. I mean, I see it in the kids in the street, they're bored. And the graffiti, there's boredom. Vandalism, there's boredom. Okay? There's no financial gain in graffiti or vandalism. Like, if someone stole something, okay, well, they're stealing because they're trying to make money. But vandalism, even mindless violence, there's no gain in it. Like, there's no upside. It's just an expression of boredom. I don't know, man. What do you think? Dave still there? Hello?
Yeah, I've shared an image with you, Meki, in the private chat, and I wanted to bring this up. I think it's about the right time. I came across this today, and it said, yeah, it's actually pretty good. So there's a list, and I'm showing it on screen for those people following us on Rumble. And if you're watching us on Rumble, do like, share, subscribe, and comment, just to help us out, because we're starting again, I think, pretty much, but on Rumble this time. So the following is a very limited list of some of the proposed amendments that never left the halls of Congress. And you can read them yourselves, but the one that I like, which is the one with the red box around it, says in 1916, think about where that is in history, all acts of war should be put to a national vote. Anyone voting yes had to register as a volunteer for service in the United States Army. Can you imagine how few people would then vote yes?
Oh, brother.
Right? So the deterrent would be obvious. Do you really... I mean, if you want to go, fine, go.
Yeah, go.
Yeah.
But if you vote, then yeah, I think that would be fantastic. Honestly, I think that's a great idea.
It is a great idea.
And you know what? I mean, see, the funny thing is this. World War II, I reckon after Pearl Harbor, a lot of Americans would have voted to go to war, which they ultimately did, really, right? But they would have voted, and they would have happily gone to war, happily. World War I was a bit more nebulous, but in World War II, there was this strong moral and ethical mandate that people felt they had in the West to intervene with these despotic and fascist regimes. Look, people realized just how how bad it was under Hitler. Certainly for minorities, it's no secret, and it was seen as a war of liberation. And you could say that, you could make the argument easily. But yeah, dude, I mean, just imagine if it had passed.
I know.
Different world now.
Well, the impetus then for the population to vote yes would then require the false flag or the aggression. It would still be the Pearl Harbor that got people into the war, like the US. Like, how dare they bomb? Imagine the narrative that would be generated to sway people into voting yes. The advertising campaigns, the TV would just be full of ads promoting the signing up. Let's tick yes, just as we do in this country with our referendums that seem to go south every time they try one, and then prompted a misinformation bill because they lost it. They think because of misinformation. I think it was poorly thought through, but and it wasn't what the Australian Aboriginals wanted. They wanted a treaty. They didn't want that, and it was really never going to get up anyway. So having said all that, yes, we have the technology today to do live democratic one-on-one voting for things. We could through our tech. We have enough tech to vote for things individually rather than requiring an onerous amount of unreasonable spending on political people to vote on our behalf. I think we're at a crossroads, I think, where we could do everything digitally. But I think we'd probably need an AI to run the show. And not that I want that, but if you were going to go down a path that that was that way inclined, like Australia is anyway, requiring every adult to get a digital ID from the government in order to use social media, that's just insane. But that's a step towards the WEF's Great Reset, where we're just all plugged in. We're like Neo in the Matrix before he escapes the Matrix. That's what it's about.
Yes.
That's all I see. I can't help, Meki. I can't help seeing it. I want to do a quick side here, and that is Malibu is on fire right now. And if you're watching this, you can. I've got a still of a live broadcast from Fox 11 Los Angeles, and it looks like hell on earth. It's nighttime, but everything's on fire. But I thought, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to have a look, Becky, because silly old me, right?
But
in
it's
Australia,
crazy.
Australia, we have our fire season. It's more than half a year, but you've got to have the right conditions. It's got to be dry, it's got to be windy, and it's got to be hot. But I'll tell you, it's low 20s, Mackie, 20 degrees.
I know.
It doesn't make a lick of sense that it should be on fire. There's not enough temperature anywhere for that to be the case, and yet there it is. So I'm kind of beside myself with just how terrible the fires are. Like, really?
Without extreme heat.
Exactly. So, look, the comments are live, and if you're looking at the screen, you might have to squint a bit, but they are... people are already talking about directed energy weapons, and there's some person's like, oh, here we go again, you know. But you know what? The conditions aren't as good as you might think for a fire to do and behave itself like that. You know, wiping out house after house. I think it's terrible. And I would like. Now, there's a lot of people saying it's all arson, and it's kind of not, like, it's coming into winter, for crying out loud, right? In Cali.
Completely, yeah, absolutely.
You know, it should be cold enough. It shouldn't be hot enough to do any of this. And I imagine, you know, unless the Santa Ana winds are going on now, I don't know. But look, to me it seems unseasonal. It's the wrong season for it, and there's something highly unusual about it.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. I mean, it's not unheard of. I mean, none of these things are unprecedented. But if you take it all in context with everything else that's happening, you ask yourself, well, you know, clearly things, we're no longer in Kansas, you know, this is now, it's a very different kind of world.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I don't care what you say or, you know, what you believe. The truth is that there is more stuff happening, and there are more things going on, and more people are dying. And look, you could make the argument saying that, oh yeah, that's all true, but there are also more people on the planet, which means we live in more places. That is true. Okay, I can't argue with that. Absolutely true. And also, people have moved into areas, you know, that are probably less supportive of our kinds of lifestyle, which is, you know, maybe also true, right? But on balance, there's just too much. going on in areas where there were populations before, like in Germany, for example. I remember when there was these massive floods and all that. I know that area because I lived there. It just never happened. It never happened. And people have lived there for hundreds of years.
That's right.
So,
and you know, obviously every house has air conditioning. Was it ever needed? No, never got that hot.
I keep telling this to my kids. I tell my kids that, you know, as soon as it was 30 degrees Celsius at 10 a.m., they didn't have to go to school. It's too hot.
That's right.
Didn't have to go.
Yep.
And I mean, Australia is ridiculous because it goes up to 40 and we're still going to school here.
That's
so.
Yeah.
They're going, really? Yeah. I said, yeah. It's a heat day. We get snow days. You know, all kinds of days. In Australia, we get nothing.
And then they get upset with you because why are we living in this country anyway?
Yeah. No snow days, no heat days, nothing. I feel oppressed. Yeah, sure you do. But you know, it's a thing, and it was just different. I know it was different because I lived there. I'm not making it up. You know, I was part of the landscape. You know, for 20 years in Germany, and traveled all over Europe. And I remember what the summers were like. I never got sunburned.
No, that's right.
I didn't get sunburned. I didn't. I mean, I would go to holidays in Turkey with my folks, because, you know, that's where my dad's family was, in summer, that is, summer holidays, right? And we get there and they'd ask me, oh, did you guys go somewhere else before you came here? I said, why is that? Well, he's really, you know, tanned, because I was playing outside in Germany, you know, like, look, you know, just in the garden, really, and I got a really good tan, but no burn. I mean, I got sunburned, you know, of course, as a child in Turkey and such, but in Germany, I never got sunburned that I can recall. Not really. Here in Australia, oh my God, I had sheets peeling off me.
Yeah, when I was in California, I couldn't get burnt. I couldn't. There wasn't enough sun's energy hitting in the Earth's surface for that to happen. I never used. There was no such thing as sunscreen, but you used tanning oil.
That's coconut oil. That's right.
That's right.
Like coconuts.
That's right. It was fantastic and a good smell too. But that amplified the sun's energy.
Yeah. Oh, brother, you were basting yourself ready for roasting.
Yeah, totally.
Well, we all did. Mom did it. I did it.
Yeah,
They put coconut oil on me. I was a child of 8 or 9 or whatever. I put coconut oil on.
And coconut butter.
Yeah. Oh, good
we
Lord.
get that from the chemist.
I just saw this meme on Facebook of all places today. It just popped up. Generation X, or X, you know, Dave and I are Generation X, X Gen, etc., etc. And ultimately, what that means is that I realized no helmets for anything. No helmets, unless you're on a bike, I guess, motorbike. No
safety
seatbelts.
pads.
No, no 50+ sunscreen, no safety pads. That's right. Bruises. It meant bruises. It meant concussions. It meant broken bones. I mean, I was not really into skating at all, but in winter we would go tobogganing down this hill, which ended in a steel kind of barricade, which was just knee high, and that was the only thing stopping you from tobogganing right into traffic. So
yeah,
it's like, but you know what? It was a great time. It was really. I had a great time as a kid. And I wouldn't change it for the world. But now I would be mortified to expose my kids to the same kind of thing, which is of course completely hypocritical.
That's right.
But, that's how we are. That's how we play, baby.
It is. So I'm just gonna show some people on the middle screen. Do you remember, like, there was a stacked cube of just steel bars, like 4 or 5 like stacked cubes high, but it was super deep and super wide, and you could be anywhere, climbing up and down all over those things. There was also like it's like a swing, but it's really long, and it hinged at both ends rather than in the middle, and you could sit on it and stand on it.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that one. And there was one that was so ridiculously tall I'm trying to find an example of it, but I mean, there was really no safety anywhere. Safety wasn't a thing at all. If you could climb on it, like some of them were so high that and I've got an example on the screen where people have ladders. Well, we didn't have ladders. You climbed up the bars, and if you could get up there, you had to get down on your own.
Oh yeah.
And we actually had concrete underneath ours.
Yeah,
it wasn't dirt.
Any fall.
Yeah, that did. For 3 foot off the ground, you'll break something. Yeah. But it's funny about Gen X, because my kids give me grief. They tell me I'm a boomer, and they do that just to wind me up. And I go, my mother was a boomer, I was Gen X, so you know
a fact, my friend.
You're not even hurting me with those words. I'm not going to get uncomfortable. I've had worse.
That's right. I grew up then.
That's
I
right.
lived through that.
Totally.
There's nothing you can do.
We gained a thicker skin. We had to be, I suppose, the people who made it had life lessons that they had to encounter and decide upon the best outcome.
Yeah. We were left to our own devices, but to be honest with you, like to your point, it did teach us a lot of life lessons. I mean, think about it now. I was roaming the world at the age of 5.
Yeah.
With my buddies.
Mm-hmm.
And no supervision at all. I mean, we could have been doing anything.
That's right.
And nobody would have been any the wiser for it. And I'm thinking about that today. I would trust my kids to be all right, but we just don't do that anymore, do we? We're just not, right? It's a shame, because it taught me everything I actually needed to know about life and how to survive, really, to be honest. How to deal with pain.
Yes.
How to look after myself and not running crying home because there was nobody at home because parents are working. Good luck to you. Yeah. So no, it was a different kind of animal.
Well, I had to make it home with some profuse bleeding. I cut one of my fingers in half, and
nice.
That was lengthways, not across. And so there was there was a lot of blood. So I took my top off and wrapped it around my hand, and I had to cycle on my BMX kilometers to get home from where the mischief I got up to. And then we went to hospital, and yeah, that was a lot of fun. My mum passed out when I unwrapped it to show her. She goes, "Oh, give me a look." I go, "I don't think you want to." And she goes, "Yeah, no, I'll put it under the tap." And when she did, she just completely passed out. And it's like, oh, now I've got to wait for her to come to and then take me to hospital. It definitely needs stitches.
I just put a Band-Aid on, you'll be fine.
But the other part of the effort that was required, like I wasn't crying. I never cried. I knew the pain was there, but if you spread your fingers out real wide, and so the skin between them is tight, and you're pushing against to widen them even more, it makes the pain go away, wherever else the pain is. So I learnt that technique early on, and it saved me a few times with
not because you wanted to, because you had to.
Because I learnt the skill. That's right. But in the hospital waiting room, my friends who'd come with me, because they just wanted to see it, they were curious on to see just how did it come apart, right? Could you see the bone? Oh, you could see the bone. He goes, "Oh, give me a look." "Oh man, I can't. The blood it's bleeding profusely." So and that was splitting up my worldly possessions, like the will and testament. "Oh, can I have this?" "Sure, man, you can have that, right?" "Oh, but if you die, can I have your video games?" Yeah, sure.
Video games. Thanks, buddy. You're a good friend. You're a good friend.
What about your Lego? Yeah, that's right. So I thought that was really funny, and so my girls are trying to give me a hard time, and they really don't know what it's like to. What was the comedian? There's a comedian lady, and she says, Gen X. Remember, at 11 o'clock at night, back in the 80s, there was a TV commercial that said, "Do you know where your children are?" To the parents. To the parents of Gen X, who would suddenly, it would dawn on them that they had children. Oh, geez. Oh, yeah, that's right. I should check on them. Yeah. Oh, where are they? Where are they? Right. That sudden realization that they had children. So, yeah, funny. It's funny stuff. Look,
It is, but
I appreciate having been there, Mickey.
I agree. And unless something happens, that changes the world in a significant way, there won't be another Gen X.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not going to happen. And maybe it's for the best as well. Who knows? I do think though that maybe seatbelts are not a bad idea, right? I think other things we should definitely have kept. Letting our kids, giving them a bit more freedom in the world to explore it on their own terms. When you watch these buddy movies like Stand By Me or even Tom Sawyer, Huckleberry Finn.
Yes.
They're not parents inside. These are kids,
right.
Even the Peanuts. Right? If you watch the Peanuts, they're kids, and that was my childhood. Kids exploring the world on their own with their buddies.
We used to go through the canals.
Yeah.
Even all the tunnels under all the roads, and we walked kilometres underground from Carlingford down to Parramatta. We shouldn't have. Right? Because we didn't tell anyone, right? But that's just the way it was. That's what you did.
Yeah.
But you're right. I remember walking down a street and going, I've never been down this street before.
See what happens.
Yeah, well, I'm making history.
It was exciting. I remember on my bike, and I go, I've never ridden my bike. Yeah, I wonder where this goes.
Mm-hmm.
And you find all these shortcuts and hidden places, and I don't know. It's just I think it's deep within us. This need to explore.
Yeah.
To face the unknown and see, how far we get. I mean, we have used all kinds of excuses as to what we do. We got to trade, go to this and that. No. It's just our sense of adventure that gets us there. It's nothing else. Don't fool yourself.
Some kids today get that through first-person shooter environments.
Yeah.
But it's not the real world, but it's still, it is an experience about walking down a hallway they've never been down and finding where it goes, right? Finding their way back. Because we found our way back.
Yeah, we had no choice. If you didn't, there was no dinner.
That's right.
Oh man, but
eternally paranoid of what time it was when you suddenly realized the streetlights were on.
That's right. But we did lose something. I do feel that we lost something when we decided. Or we didn't decide. It just happened. I think the media is to blame here because the stories became bloody and bloody. I remember watching the news in Germany when I was a child. They were only on like in the evening. There was no daytime TV in Germany when I grew up, and I remember watching the news and some stories were scary, but for the most part it was just news. It was just actually things that had happened that were important. Not 50 billion people have been blown up again, anything like that.
Yeah.
Not at all. It was just news, like without opinion. This is what happened. You need to know. So there you are. Completely unheard of now. Now it's all just entertainment and ratings and how can we get more people watching our channel? well, show more blood, more breaking news. Everything is breaking news now. This you can't have constantly breaking news. It's impossible. It's not possible to have that many breaking news. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It just doesn't work that way.
I don't think he's that sorry.
You know me too well.
But look, it's pretty it's interesting there. And look, you know how I told you earlier that the Assad's helicopter or plane, there is a report, whether it's real or not, I don't know. I'm going to say I don't know, and that's okay to say I don't know. But, and I don't want to sound like Kamala Harris, but I want to recognize when things aren't verified, and there is no verification. There's no qualification of the story, as there are so many other stories that aren't verified, and doing a news commentary portion of our show, it comes with its own issues, because the news can offer a retraction, and it's difficult to do that when you're reading what they have determined to be a news story, and then they go, oh, no, we made a mistake. 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, a week later, we can do a retraction. I'm happy to that. I just want people to know that we are trying our best to have intelligent discussions about topics that currently exist historically, if there's relevance. And I made a warnings page.
I saw that.
Yeah, we can change the wording as we go.
Oh, I like it.
It's only kind of rough. It's rough.
Dave is really deeply hurt by what YouTube really scarred Dave. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and look, rightly so too. Rightly so, because they were deleting stuff that had no. They didn't. Oh, I'll be quiet. I'll be quiet. It's really difficult not to rant.
Trigger warning.
That's it. Yeah, mine. So I basically said, what we do and what we don't do. What do we not do? And all the things they blamed us for doing, which we didn't do, I've now got a warning screen, and I want people to understand what we do actually attempt to achieve. It isn't just Mickey and I having a little chat with each other, which it kind of feels like that, and we have most we have in common. We do differ in opinions, and we differ in our backgrounds, and we have a good conversation. And I really want it to be interesting for the listener to hear things. Hopefully, we looked it up and you don't have to. We did the research and you don't have to. When it comes to implications, though, of what we see in the media, how much is that going to affect us in the future? And I think we do hit those marks. But we don't call to action anything where we don't incite violence or race hate or anything like that, and we don't talk about financial anythings. We don't provide financial information or medical or social, even political advice. None of it is advice, and that's, I think, the strongest point I can make.
No, yeah, I completely agree. And the problem, of course, is, and this is interesting. There's an interesting theory out there that AI has already taken over.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Become self-aware, and he's using social media. I discussed this with a colleague of mine, a friend, actually, I should say. Interesting person and similar mindsets to us. And and they're using, and the AI is using social media to control us and guide us in a certain way, or make us do certain things, whatever the case may be.
I'm totally sure that we're getting the CIA term is nudged.
Nudged.
I think
100%.
Steered, nudged, controlled, and whatever term you feel comfortable with. I think they're doing it.
And Yeah.
My
Absolutely.
feed has changed. My feed, and it's not based on what I like, because I like every single thing that appears. So I know that I've seen it.
Hmm.
That's my little
And
marker that says, "Oh, hey, I've seen that before."
that's really the danger as well in many ways, to because if you get nudged, let's say, right,
Hmm.
you it's a nudge is not coercion. It's subliminal, even at
Hmm.
times, right? And you go, oh, and all of a sudden you feel maybe a certain way about something. Maybe you felt differently before, and you can't really put your hand on it. It's similar to the subliminal rather, advertising that was
Banned in the
first tried
'70s.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, oh, I feel like having a soft drink. You don't really feel like having a soft drink, but there was like for like a split second there was a picture
The
of a soft
icy
drink and a
cold
person.
Coca-Cola, Mickey.
Oh, let's get that.
Refreshing. Hmm.
It's so refreshing.
Have you ever stood in front of the tomatoes? I recognized this when it happened to me. I stood in front of the tomatoes in the produce section. I'm saying that for the
Hmm.
American audience, because we just go in the fruit and veg, and
That's it.
and I said to myself, they are red. And I realized when I did that, I said it to myself. It was an internal voice, and I thought I wouldn't have ever thought that about them. I never would have made the comment. I'm not going to buy them. But I'm going against the grain. I'm not going to buy them, but they are red. So that means I must have heard something that suggested that they are very red.
Uh-huh.
And I've led myself there and spotted them, and then it was, it eventuated. I remember seeing, because I did mass media, Becky, when I was in California, and
Okay.
I saw all of those subliminal advertising examples with the ice that isn't photographable.
Hmm.
You can't take a photo of it, and they had to airbrush in what they wanted into the ice to make it seen. The whiskies and the scotches, they would have, devil and sexualized images in the reflections in the bottles. And this is in still advertising. Still. It's
Hmm.
amazing that it was effective. And it was effective.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Because you feel a certain way and you're attracted to that thing, whatever it is. So,
Correct.
look, if you look at the history of humanity and you wanted to coerce someone into doing something, you completely could.
Oh, no doubt. In fact, easier now than before, especially with the help of tech. I mean, social media is nothing if not a direct, wire into your brain
That's
for
right.
advertisers to abuse at their leisure.
At their leisure.
It's it's a phenomenal tool if you're in the industry. You go, oh, what? Yeah, yeah, and you don't even know it. Why do we live? Why do you think we live in a? Okay, this is how much time? Not too much.
Two
Oh, no, a little
minutes.
bit. That's okay. Your grandparents or your great grandparents lived in a society that was not a consumer society. They
Mhm.
bought quality things that would last a long time, maybe even a lifetime. Who knows, right? That's no longer a thing.
Mhm.
That's People no longer make things like that because
That's
it's
right.
not profitable. Because if you think whatever the thing is lasts so long, then well, um, then who's going to buy the next one? This is the same with the use before and best buy dates.
Oh yeah.
Right? It's still perfectly edible, whatever you might have there, and it's still perfectly, it won't kill you, but people will chuck it out anyway. Oh, it's beyond the use by date or whatever, or best before. Well, so it's too dangerous. We can't eat it anymore. It's going to kill us. Well, no, it won't. But okay, fair enough. You believe that it will, then maybe you shouldn't eat it. But we are building things to fail, and to
Yeah.
fail as soon as the warranty period is over.
Mhm.
That's when it failed. Um, and it's designed that way because that will lead you to more consumption, and that's what we want. We want people to consume more stuff they don't need. It's brilliant. It's a fantastic thing. Oh my goodness, there's music. Thank you so much. This has been Plato's Cave. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't go anywhere. Something else is going to come up, I'm sure. And we're going to talk to you again on Thursday and, of course, on Sunday. But most of all, Dave,
be safe.